be your greatest friend and ally, particularly when you join forces on a story. And then you can have a ton of information and work that they didn't have the chance to do, but they can come with something that's, well, what if I blah, 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 and you can, oh, cool, and benefit from that great idea. And so we had so much fun. Some of the riffs that were funny just got super funny, particularly like Lucy and Chris together was like, I thought we were all gonna die. We were laughing so hard those days. I mean, Gal couldn't get a word in. Just the thing, the lines would go back and forth.
I want those on the extras on the DVD or the outtakes, some of that stuff on there.
Yes, and I could watch it for hours. It's so funny.
And getting great actors to balance, the humor and the seriousness and even just the inspirational part of the movie is so important, and that comes across really well. But you've got to have the right fights. You've got to have the right stunts. So what was it like developing Wonder Woman and the Amazon style of fighting?
What was so cool about it was that the thing that I cared about this movie the most was making every part of it track with your experience from her point of view. And so as a result, we very naturally hit the action sequences that we did, and then how she would react and approach those changed dramatically, because you would say, oh, for this story, this is about her experiencing violence. This is not a story about over here. Yeah. You're not, the question you're asking in this scene is not who's going to win the battle. We don't care really about we don't know any of these people. The question is, here's a young woman watching a battle for the first time. Changes how you approach a scene. And so that was fascinating, because that would then turn into, and there was this Amazon beach battle where Diana is seeing this. She has grown up idealizing war and combat, because she's watching people who are not at war. They're training and it looks pretty great. And then you're watching war, and suddenly it's like, it's moving so fast, it's so violent. So her point of view and seeing moments in slow motion, and it's funny because people talk about slow motion and say, slow motion is one of those things that people talk about, like they talk about voiceover, like, I'm over voiceover, and I'm like, okay. It's like saying I'm over wide lenses.
Yes.
I'm like, all right, like you're arbitrary. Here's all our tools.
Yeah.
They're all wonderful.
I'm just gonna throw that one out for a while.
They're all wonderful for the right thing. Like, just don't do it for no reason.
Yeah.
But do anything you want for a reason. I totally defend. I'm like, I don't care if I do the oldest school, most played out thing in the world. If it makes you feel what I want to do, I'm down. I'll do a Zoom. I don't care. Like, people are like, well, obviously you don't want to Zoom. I'm like, I might want to Zoom. I don't know what I'm going to do.
And this is why I said she's the real Amazonian queen. She's like, whatever, I'm going to do a Zoom if I want to do a Zoom.
But then I want to just call out one more person. So Gal Gadot did the most amazing job doing her stunts, and so many of the shots that you have to do.
Yeah.
But also you need other incredible people to do things that we could never do. And we happen to have Caitlin here, who did almost all of her other stunts, including hanging from wires up in the stand up for all including sometimes the ugly work of like hanging really uncomfortably upside down in a way where she's blocking something and doing something, and just beautifully and fluidly, helping us tell that story, and acting. Because we're having that conversation too. In this scene, there's a big difference, and this is an interesting thing about action. Action is the same as drama,
Yeah.
There's a big difference between if you go like this, you really hateful, or you angry, or you want to punch, or if you go, oh, boom. The big difference being that one's a defensive move, and one is a show-offy move inspired by rage. These are hugely different, And so we were talking about these things all the time, of like, what is this scene? What's her attitude?
Yeah.
There are moves that Diana should never make if she's not after the greatest villain of all time. She's not going to be vicious and punching human beings in the face. Why? She doesn't have to. And so she can be incredibly badass. But like even in that fight scene that we saw, never actually stabs anybody. She takes them out. So she's moving so fast and it's so grand, but it's boom, 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 boom. Big difference between that and relishing in it. She would never need to do that.
Yeah.
And yet she's still as badass as ever.
Yeah.
You know? And so that kind of thing is really fun to say, you're in a room of Germans and you got to take them out. Okay. Oh, boom. Okay. It's a very different approach and attitude for Caitlin, for Gal, and for everybody.
Well, I love it so much that you guys are such a family, that we've got so many people here from the film that worked on it with you that wanted to come and just be with you guys tonight. But I know that there are so many people and fans here. So I'm going to toss it out to some fan questions. Raise your hand. There's one. Oh, you were so fast back there. You're up first. You're up first.
Hi. Nice shirt.
Hi, Kimberly. I have a microphone. Hi. First off, for everyone who's a little girl or has been a little girl, thank you so much. Your inspiration from George Perez was so beautiful and perfect and spot on, and your homages and pulls from the New 52 were great. I know a lot of us, some of people in this room, have made some amazing fan stuff. There's been fan pictures and art and films and stuff. How much did you pull from that, and how did it affect your filmmaking?
Well, you know, it's funny. I mean, going into this, you research everything about who loves Wonder Woman and why. You know, so I always say that when I go into making something, I try to remember very clearly what the genesis of it is. And in the case of Wonder Woman, I always thought about the fans, not just because I'm trying to, you know, I don't know, it is because I should, but it's also because all these people have been dressing up as Wonder Woman for 75 years. Like, there's a reason. What is it? What's the reason that I love her, that you love her, that we, you know, what is that? How do we celebrate that and stay true to that? I invite alt versions of Diana that people have done. I think it's great. I embrace all of them. But this is the original movie, and I thought it was an incredible opportunity to really try to keep our finger on what that was. So you don't even know where you're drawing from. Am I drawing from the little girl that came and thought she was Wonder Woman, or the little girl in the wheelchair who thought she was Wonder Woman, or the grown man who found his voice in Wonder Woman? It might be anywhere. But all of those people, and what is it that they're drawn to just like I'm drawn to, that was everything to me, of like, yes, let's never deviate from that. You know, let's never get sucked into a situation where that's my job. You know, everybody else is working at a studio. That's not their job. So they might say, well, maybe she would punch somebody right in the face and smile. That's my job, is to say, that's not what we want. That's not our Diana. Not this time, you know. Maybe later when she's really angry, but not here, you know. And so yes, I drew it from everywhere and everyone that loves her.
Well, I think
Thank you.
What's so cool is that this is going to be the version that people are going to look to, that are starting to get to know her. You know, there are people out there who all they've seen are, you know, the cups or shirts or whatever it is, and now getting to see this version where you're like, that's my Wonder Woman, which is so
that's
amazing.
Crazy, but also it's exactly why I always even said to Linda Carter early on, I said, we're not the new generation saying this is my Wonder Woman. I'm talking about your Wonder Woman. I'm talking about William Marston's Wonder Woman, that you turned into another Wonder Woman, that George Perez made a great comment on Wonder Woman, that the New 52 makes a great comment on. It's the same Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
I want to expand what's already been there.
Yeah, love it. All right, do we have another question? We'll go straight in the back and then we'll come up here to you. Right in the back with the red wristband. Does everyone have red wristbands?
Hello, and thanks as well. I agree with the last sentiment. Thanks for all the women out there. Also, I guess I'm just curious about Hollywood, female directors, strong female leads. It has been improving over the past few years. You have like the Hunger Games and Divergent series with strong female characters. There's obviously this film and a few others. Female directors seem to be pretty rare in Hollywood. And recently I saw some articles being shared around on Facebook saying like, it's not your imagination, like advertising hasn't been that strong for Wonder Woman. Do you agree with that? And
You know, I have the hardest time knowing, because I am in the weirdest experience of like knowing everything and seeing everything and never seeing enough and all those things. Listen, the truth is, I think there were real reasons to wait until our pocket to hit it really hard and big, and I think that was always the plan to do it. And I think we've spent as much money on the advertising of this movie as they had on many other movies before it. And so I think that it's unclear that you could point a finger to the fact that something's been shortchanged, but I always wonder if the world at large believes that she could be a major blockbuster, you know? I don't cite anybody else or point the finger, but I always wonder, and maybe I'm being naive about it, but I've always said, I think you guys don't realize who's been knocking on the door at Halloween. That's not for nothing, you know? And so it's interesting to me that it took so long for her to have a movie, and I don't think that there was any one reason to blame for that, but I've always thought, am I the only person who thinks that, like, there's a lot of people that want to see a Wonder Woman movie? And so, you know, I love the fact that the fans took that point of view of, like, defending whether we're being backed up enough, and I think, you know, it's great to be cared for in that way.
And I think one of the first times we talked about the movie, I think, was at Comic-Con. And even talking about the character of Wonder Woman, it's almost, not that it's secondary that she's a woman, but it's just this character, this is who she is, and that's part of it. It didn't have to be this thing at the forefront. So obviously it's awesome having a woman directing Wonder Woman, but it's just that we have an amazing director doing this character. I love that. And I think the online stuff, what's been so special to me is, like, having the conversation socially with everyone, with all the fans. And I know you've checked out stuff online that people have posted, even talking about seeing different people's versions of Wonder Woman, that almost to me felt like the most genuine advertising that a movie or a character could expect, because it was all of us saying, we want to talk about this character, this is what I'm excited about, this is me wearing my Wonder Woman shirt because this shirt wasn't out here before the movie was coming out.
Yeah, that is for real. Like, that the ability of you all to reach people with your own movies, and the world to reach people about our movie, like all of those, like when you make your own movie, it's amazing what the people who are watching you and listening to you can do for you. And this has been a wonderful education to me, to have, like, the grassroots fan base be such a huge part of the functioning of this film. Like, that's pretty incredible.
It's awesome. So we'll take a question right up here. I'm just gonna, nope, yeah, here, thank you.
Hey!
Hi.
I'm one of the few lucky ones that got to watch it.
Oh, awesome.
And, I'm not a comic book person, and I'm not an action film person. I'm a comedian, and I make awkward comedy videos on YouTube. And I was so incredibly moved by this film. God, thank you. I mean, so many reasons. I think we are at a really important time for women to rise up. And I'm so excited by the message of this movie. I'm excited by who Steve was in supporting women and showing that being that kind of man actually just makes you stronger. Yeah. I'm so inspired by her message and her inability to sit passively by. And I'm so excited for my nieces to see this. I really believe that there are messages of love, healing that have been told, of course, in so many other stories, but come across so clearly here. And I do believe it's going to be a blockbuster. I do believe it's going to be the movie that we all hope it's going to be. I have so many questions, but like I want to like take you to coffee and like just really like dig in deep.
I want to take you to coffee.
Yeah, let's do it.
Thank you so much. I mean, that, I cannot tell you what it means to me when people, like all of you, like when you say that, because I couldn't agree with you more and about the world. And I feel like, you know, that was part of the duty that was put in my lap, was like, God, it's time for a new kind of hero as well. Which is like, to be a hero is not easy, and it's not simple, and it's not bang, it's over. It's unbelievably complicated, and it's going to require us being better people. And I mean, don't get me started on this, but I could go on and on. I'm quite serious about the fact that this is the story of someone we relate with, taking the journey to learn to be a hero and realizing it is so difficult, and you're not always even able to save people who deserve it. In fact, you're saving a lot of people who don't deserve it. And why do you do it then? Because that's what you believe. And like, if we all don't become the hero, we are not going to be able to save this world, because there's nobody coming. And so it means all of us, and particularly in the day and age of the internet, and the day and age of like different countries colliding and different types of people, if we don't become accountable and like challenge ourselves to be more loving and thoughtful with our power, because we all are powerful, then we're not going to save the world. And so that was where, when I have Diana sitting in my hand, who stands for love and truth and beauty, and I'm saying, I can try to say something in this world about, like, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be a hero. Instead, it's this other, harder, less glorious choice. So for you as a non-superhero fan, to feel that experience, which I cared about very much too, and always saying, like, I want to make a great superhero movie, and I also want to make a beautiful movie that takes advantage of that to say something. That means so much to me. I won't forget what you said tonight. Thank you for that. Thank you.
And I feel also, like, I'm sorry, I will give it right back to you, that there's something about it. I'm so sorry, so many people have questions.
Like, if I'm gonna zoom, I'm gonna zoom.
Yeah, right? Like, I'm holding it, I'm zooming. It's like, it feels like a call to action.
I would love that. Yeah. I would love it if it became a call to action to people being a hero themselves. I would love it.
Yeah.
And little girls and little boys and everybody may be questioning themselves when they have a choice to make. It would change. I mean, it could change so much.
Yeah.
You know.
And I just have to say, you're not alone in that feeling, because every time I spend time with her, I'm like, can we be best friends? Like, I just want to talk to you about more stuff. And seeing the movie and having those feelings where it was like, within the first 5 minutes of the movie, I was like, what is on my face right now? Like, I literally, just tears, like not ugly tears, but just like, it's like dripping down my cheek. And I'm like, it's because you want it, like I was saying, it's like Karate Kid, there was no movie like that for girls. And you get to see this little girl who's fighting and wants to be like part of the group, and then seeing all these women come together. It is so emotional, whether you're a comic book fan or not. And I'm glad that, you know, you're getting to hear this even more in person, not just on social media. So I know we've got another question back there. What's your name? What's your question?
Tayden, and I was wondering, like I'm a little kid. So what's your favorite quality in Diana or Wonder Woman that you want to pass on to young girls or boys out there that you just want young kids to have?
I think it's taking from what I said, which is like, you're the hero. And I mean you, not the you that could be. I mean you right now. And so every time you face a choice, taking responsibility because it's what you believe. That I'm going to make the right move. Nobody may know it, and it might not even be the easy thing to do, or it might not, whatever, but I could make it silently right now myself, because that's what I believe. That's the number one thing. And the number two thing is like, yeah, is that everybody in this lifetime takes a journey to being a hero themselves, no matter who they are. And so hoping that little boys and little girls everywhere who see it feel like a hero for that night, and it inspires that feeling in them.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.
We've got a question right up here, this gentleman with the glasses.
I knew I was coming here, so I asked some of my female filmmakers from YouTube on Twitter what questions they would ask, and one that I got was, now that you have directed this, what I believe is going to be my favorite film of the year, do you think this will open the door for women directors of other superhero movies, not just a female superhero?
Yeah, I would hope so, because I think that what this movie could change is, I think that there was an idea that only a very small certain kind of people liked action movies or superhero movies or whatever, and that's where the money was. I think what things like The Hunger Games and Divergent and so many things are starting to change is everybody sees there's a universal story to be told with other people, and there's also universal money to be made with all kinds of people who want to see it. And so, I feel like it was a special relationship to direct this as a woman and have it be a woman. But the greatest gift about that was that I didn't think about the fact that she was a woman at all. I was just directing a hero, trying to be a hero. And that's possible from anyone to anything. And so I don't only want to make movies about one kind of anything, but hopefully the world will start to see that anybody could be a universal character, and anybody could direct that universal character if you're talking about, something that we all feel and experience.
We'll take some more questions. We'll go right in the back over there. The red shirt and a red bracelet. Everyone has. Oh wait, you're wearing a Wonder Woman dress?
Yes. Topic 1.
Love it.
That's awesome.
So my question is, you said you had an idea of, the kind of Wonder Woman movie you wanted to make, but before you got to make this one, she was already in Batman v Superman, and then Zack Snyder, he's gonna have her in Justice League. So how was it kind of working maybe with him and trying to make sure that all kind of works, your vision and then what he already did in BVS and he was going to do in Justice League?
Well, it actually worked out really nicely because of the time periods. So Zach hadn't finished BVS yet when I started making Wonder Woman. And so, first of all, the story of the casting is like a miracle, because I am so picky about casting. Ever since I wanted Charlize Theron and everybody thought that was, like a very odd idea. And I was like, oh, she is the spirit that I believe is the right spirit for this. I was like, ooh, when it comes to women or anybody, you have to be following an internal thing that you believe in. And so when I found out, after saying I'd wanted to do this for a long time, when I found out that Zach had cast Wonder Woman, not knowing them at all, my heart skipped a beat, because I was like, oh my God, what are the odds that we would pick the same person? That's unlikely, and that is everything. And then I started to watch Gal more carefully, and I started to see everything about her, and I was stunned. When I was like, oh my God, and really it's not a big surprise. They were looking for the spirit of Wonder Woman and someone who had all of that in them too. And they found her. Like, boy, did they find her. And I'll never stop singing the praises of the miracle of Gal Gadot. So they made Batman vs. Superman, but I hadn't seen it when I started to work on Wonder Woman. So the truth is, that's 100 years later, and she's lived a whole arc, but nevertheless, her origin story of who she is and how she came to this world is what it is. And as long as hundreds of years later, she's it was a beautiful portrait, a vignette, but it wasn't setting up some complicated thing I had to build up to. It was a vignette. So they were incredibly supportive to, great, you're a different filmmaker with a different vision, and we want all of these heroes to have a different film. And in this case, it's pretty easy to do because you're doing something that takes place in 1918. So, great, go tell her origin story. And then Justice League wasn't being done yet. And so, it was a cool thing. It's a cool thing to be in a universe where you're you're in a camp of other people making other films over there. But we got to be almost pretty autonomous making our film. And then I think it was interesting for Zach to see Wonder Woman progress and say, oh wow, these are shades of Wonder Woman I didn't get to explore, and I think that influences Justice League. So it was a lovely progression, and that was the beauty of making a standalone film.
Thank you.
All right, we've got time for one more question. Let's go right over here to this gentleman in the blue polo shirt.
Hi guys.
Hi.
Thanks, Patty, for being here. I just wanted to say, as a comic book fan, this is a character that's been iconic and has existed for 75 years. And I believe firmly that this is a movie that should have been made a long, long time ago. And I want to thank you for making it, because that truly does make you a Richard Donner, a person that establishes an iconic character and a legacy. And I believe what this movie is, what it represents, and what it has the potential to be could definitely shape and reshape the industry going forward from here. So,
thank you. Thank you. I should be so lucky to be mentioned with all the Richard Donner and all of those things, so I super appreciate it, and I hope it lives up to that. I really do.
I know it definitely will. I wanted to ask, what ideas and what comic books and what inspirations are you going to draw from for Wonder Woman 2?
Great question to end on. I love it. Well, I can't really talk about that. But listen, I think the greatest thing is the feeling that I have about the future of Wonder Woman, because this was a long, hard road, and really long when you think about how long her journey has been and how many people have tried to make her a movie and how incredible that's been. And sometimes I have these moments where really have finished the film now, but sometimes now I think about it and I say, oh my God, like now she's here. Now we can have Wonder Woman do all kinds of stuff in this world. And that is so exciting to me and inspiring to me in this world, to have a superhero who like stands for something so moral and emotional about her belief in us. Like, that's amazing. And played by someone as wonderful as Gal. It's like that is very exciting to me. So there's 75 years of things to draw upon, and Gal Gadot won't live long enough to do all the films that I wish she would.
Unless she really is Wonder Woman.
Hopefully she's Wonder Woman. Hopefully we'll all find out that she's Wonder Woman and she could work for the next 200 or 300 years.
I love it. And what I love so much too is even talking about this, where we're talking about perfect timing of everything, where, there's so much stuff going on in the world, and even with girls coming up and wanting to do more stuff, I just want to say a huge thank you to the YouTube space and to Google, because they're doing so many great things right now. They're doing a program called Made with Code for girls who really get more involved in the science and technology industry. So, again, it's just perfect timing with everything.